What's going on, comic book gang? My name is Jancy, aka Year of the Collector, and welcome to another episode of Thoughts and Reviews. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite series of all time, She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell. As some of you may know, Rowell wrote She-Hulk Volume 4, followed by the Sensational She-Hulk series, which I recommend you read both series if you're a fan of the character. They're both incredibly entertaining. For this episode, I'm going to cover Volume 1 or issues 1 through 5 of this series with a little bit of context to what transpired prior to this run, just to give you a better understanding of what She-Hulk was doing leading up to this moment. If you like this type of content, make sure you drop a like, leave a comment, and or subscribe to the channel for more. And with that being said, let's begin. Previously, Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk, was a mainstay member of the Avengers. Her time on the team was a roller coaster for Jennifer. She was more Savage Hulk than She-Hulk for the longest of this run. She had a moment with Thor, the God of Thunder. She got kidnapped by a group of villains. She returned to her normal She-Hulk self, and after saving the day, she earned Namor's eternal gratitude and favor. Finally, Jason Aaron finished his 5-year run with Avengers Assemble Omega in an epic fashion when the heroes reach across the multiverse to save the day. She-Hulk had no major role during this event, but regardless, she was there with the team. So, where did Jennifer land after the Avengers disassemble? After the world and even the universe is saved and everyone goes home. No missions, no team, no world level threats. Enter fan favorite writer Rainbow Rowell. Rowell was no stranger to the world of Marvel Comics. She debuted in Marvel Comics in the 2017 Runaways series. Rowell was paired with another fan favorite, Chris Anka, and together they had a 38 issue series. Fans and critics alike loved the run, so much so Marvel brought her back for another Runaways miniseries during the One World Under Doom event of 2025. Rainbow Rowell's writing style centers more on characters' day-to-day life, placing superheroes in the mundane aspects we all take for granted. It's like Stan Lee's melodrama style of writing, but done right. Intimate, personal, and relatable. It is my opinion that this is exactly what the character of She-Hulk needed desperately. Both Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk can contribute as a member of any iteration of the Avengers, but at a certain point, Jason Aaron's writing and story arcs kept getting grander and the stakes kept escalating to the point She-Hulk became an afterthought. Rainbow Rowell made it all about the character and life experience of Jennifer, the She-Hulk, and the simple things in life that heroes like her go through, like relationships, unemployment, horrible bosses, and rebuilding your life from scratch by reinventing yourself. Let's dive into She-Hulk Volume 4 by writer Rainbow Rowell, artist Luca Maresca, Rogue Antonio, colors by Rico Renzi, and letters by Joe Caramagna. The main covers were made by the amazing Jen Bartel, of course. Let's begin with issue number 1. This first arc was rightfully named Jen Again. Rowell starts off this era of She-Hulk by placing Jen down on her luck. Previously, Jennifer was jumping from team to team, affiliation to affiliation, and in the process of fighting the good fight, she neglected her professional career. Now, out of the Avengers, back into civilian life, Jennifer is faced with everyday people's challenges. The homelessness and unemployment Jennifer must navigate through are bad enough. I know the dread involved in those situations. I've been there on both accounts. So, this is something that hit me close to home. But what I think most people can relate to is the bad habits of self doubt or selling yourself short that Jennifer kept around this time. She takes stock of her life for a moment and only manages to focus on the negative aspects of her life. as many of us do sometimes, right? I should be married by now. I should have children by now. I should have a home by now. I should be whatever by now, etc. It doesn't matter that she just spent years protecting the world with the Avengers. Jennifer Walters falls victim to these kinds of thinking traps, just like everyone else. The first challenge presented by Rowell is twofold via She-Hulk's old rival, Mary McFerrin, also known as Titania. For Titania, running into Jennifer Walters on the street meant business as usual. Go ahead and turn green so I can fight you. Titania even mentions the recent changes Jennifer had gone through in reference to the Avengers run by Jason Aaron. Jennifer was reluctant to engage in a fisticuffs with Titania as She-Hulk or otherwise. For one, she didn't see a reason to fight, and two, she didn't want to ruin her only suit. Eventually, Jennifer turns green and they fight. This is a superhero comic at the end of the day. During the scuffle, Jennifer realized that this was not personal. This was just Titania's way to cut loose and let out some steam. On the other hand, Titania realized that Jennifer was down on her luck and even felt sorry for her. In comparison, Titania was married, had a job, she had been on a straight arrow, more or less, and even lived in a rented home. Jennifer patronized Titania for taking all of that for granted. In the end, Jennifer understood her rival's love language because she also appreciates a good knuckle fight every now and then. So, she proposed they meet up on a later date at an empty lot and just scrap for funsies. Titania loved the idea, of course. But before they went their separate ways, Titania felt bad. She jumped her when she's facing hard times like this. She even reached into her pocket and offered to help Jennifer, but she refused to take a handout from Titania. At the end of the day, a girl got her pride intact, and she said she had it under control. By that, she meant she was grabbing her suit from the street and running to her job interview to a boss that doesn't like her. And the only reason she hired Jennifer in the first place is so she wouldn't have to face her in the courtroom anymore. This is just the first scene, but Rowell set the tone of the baseline from the very first moment. Jennifer is starting from the bottom up. The story takes place in the aftermath of her time with the Avengers. Her old rivals and friends are going to be all over the series as supporting characters, and Jennifer needs all the support she can get. Rainbow Rowell sets the tone by showcasing the duality of the character. The human side is in a position to struggle with different conflicts. And trust me, there is a lot of struggles in this series. While at the same time, the Hulk's physicality will be portrayed through Jennifer's sense of duty and responsibility to help those in need and the itch to punch bad guys in the face. Issue number 2. Issue 2 dropped a major monkey wrench on Jennifer's life. We saw the return to comics of one Jonathan Hartz, also known as Jack of Hearts. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how composed and maybe even nonchalant Jennifer took it all in. If you don't know who Jack of Hearts is, or you don't understand why Jennifer was very wary of Jack, well, that's because he used to be dead. In fact, he had been dead for almost 10 years, publication years, if you will. During Avengers 500 from 2004 by Brian Michael Bendis and David Finch, there was a complete overhaul of the Avengers as a team. This story was called Avengers Disassemble. Bendis created all sorts of catastrophes and tragedies that resulted in the disbandment of the Avengers for the first time in history. By this point, Jack of Hearts had already been dead for a while after he exploded in outer space during Avengers 76 from 2003. But later, he showed up as a zombie and exploded in the front lawn of the Avengers mansion, taking Scott Lang, the Ant-Man, with him. And Jennifer was one of the people present to witness all of it. Fast forward to She-Hulk number 2, Jack shows up in Janet's apartment all beat up looking for She-Hulk like nothing happened, like time stood still for him. He had no recollection of what happened, speaking specifically about his attack on the Avengers Mansion. Jennifer, on the other hand, remembered everything. Like I said, she witnessed, she was there when it happened, but she also had another memory of Jack when he drained her from her gamma radiation that almost ended up killing her too. Yeah, I'd say Jennifer handled that perfectly well. This event, this return of Jack of Hearts, turned the story and Jennifer's attention towards this new mystery. What happened to Jack? Where's he's been all this time? But even more curious, why is Jack not his old self? Before this, he didn't sleep, eat, or do any other human activity of this kind. And currently, he's enjoying all the above. Issue number 3. The third issue has Jennifer in a very precarious position at the law firm that she works in now, if you will. Jennifer seems to be rusty in the admin side of practicing law. This is something lawyers don't really talk about, but they still have to deal with client meetings, initial consultations, finding clients to hire you. So, you can do actual work and get actual recompensation for it. Jennifer might be a world renowned lawyer, but she's starting from scratch and her boss won't allow her to represent any heroes, tights, mutants, or anyone from those communities. Despite these restrictions, she found herself providing legal advice to Benjamin Grimm over the phone just 2 hours later. When she got back home, Jack was still crashed out on her couch. Here's where the bulk of this issue takes place. Jack and Jennifer try talking a bit more in depth about Jack's sudden return over some slices of New York pizza. So we don't forget where a Marvel comic is taking place. Not only was Jack's memory still fuzzy about everything, but he was also very apologetic for bothering Jennifer with his situation. However, Jennifer insisted they had the pizza, talked about what he remembered, and go from there. Rowell gave a look into Jack of Hearts' history in a very sad and personal retelling in his own words. Long story short, Jack didn't seem to have much agency for the longest time in his life. He was a subject to his circumstances more so than his own choices. Also, plenty of his own life was learned from other people's accounts because he did not remember it himself. They also shared their perceptions of each other during the time they lived together as Avengers in the Avengers Mansion. Jack used to think She-Hulk had her life figured out, something Jennifer tried pretty hard to play down. Probably because when she looked back at that time and compared it to now, she probably felt like she had taken steps back in her life after trying out more new things for Jack to experience, like going to the bathroom. Jennifer called her friend Patsy, also known as Hellcat. Without revealing Jack's return, Jennifer asked Patsy what she knew about the guy, which is more or less what Jennifer knew. This served more as confirmation rather than new information. Jack of Hearts came from space. He was with the Avengers for a while. There was that incident where he messed up with She-Hulk's gamma radiation, and finally, the whole exploding thing as a zombie thing. In the end, Patsy sort of volunteered to hack the Avengers servers and get Jennifer a copy of Jack's file. Looking back to this moment after reading Rainbow Rowell's entire run on She-Hulk, I can understand why Jack and Jennifer worked so well together. There was a certain camaraderie between them that I can't quite put into words. Jennifer wanted to help a fellow Avenger regardless of what happened before. No matter what she knew to be true, Jack dying, Jack coming back as a zombie, and then the exploding, or even Jack hurting her the last time she was around him. That was then, this is now, and that was it. She-Hulk was set on getting to the bottom of this mystery. Issue 4. Major events take place in this one issue. When I say major events, I mean developments of the utmost significance. The first meeting of Punch Club. In our first gathering, we had She-Hulk versus Titania as advertised on issue 1. A few others arrived at this historical reunion by mistake, malignant or otherwise. Regardless, the membership is growing already. Punch Club was rated E for everyone from day one. Punch Club aside, Jennifer manages to attract clientele for her law firm, but she had to wrestle with her boss not wanting that kind of clientele. The story is talking about metahumans, mutants, or heroes, but this is just an allegory for bigotry. I had to state that just in case you missed the subtle hint coming from Nova's comment, which opened the door for everyone to show their disappointment. Jennifer and Jack get together in a public park to continue brainstorming on the mystery of his sudden reappearance. No matter how much they are pretending they know what they're doing, it's pretty apparent that they are over their heads. Also, speaking of pretending, Jennifer's trauma from her last few encounters with Jack are still pretty raw, possibly because he'd been dead for years and Jennifer never took the time to decompress her thoughts and feelings about those experiences because, he was gone and there was no reason to remember it until now. Finally, through their conversation about superpowers, we came to see the contrasts of opinions. Jennifer likes being a Hulk, feeling big, strong, tall, and imposing, while Jack is starting to like the taste of being powerless. So, that has changed his perception of his own powers and what his life had been up to that point because of said powers. For the first time ever, Jack is experiencing normalcy, eating, sleeping, walking, things of that nature. All sorts of mundane, everyday things we take for granted. Issue number 5. Starting off Fast and Furious with a confrontation between She-Hulk and some large stranger. From the last issue, this guy was just screaming and repeating himself over and over. No bad guy speech, no intro, no call out, just aggression. The fight only served to showcase that Jack's powers were not back. Finally, some lady interrupted the fight to claim that all that aggression and the damage caused during the fight was unintended. Jennifer tried to keep the couple around to answer for what the big guy had done, but the lady just walked away. Jennifer tried putting her foot down, but the lady said, "Not all superhumans are as super as you." This comment forced Jennifer to take a pause. I imagine she realized that maybe this large unknown man was special in other ways. Suddenly, everything about his behavior made some sense. She decided to let it go. Later on, Jack and Jennifer go out on a dinner date. The topic of discussion was how long could Jack keep his return a secret. Jennifer probed with enough questions until it became clear she wasn't ready for Jack's return to be public because she was enjoying his company. So much so, we get the first breaking of the fourth wall when Jennifer stares at the narration bubbles with a disapproving look. Jennifer wanted to keep things as they were, just the two of them, hanging out and getting to know each other. In the end, Jennifer's actions are contradictory to herself. She was not okay with bringing back the history of Jack of Hearts as most people knew it, meaning what occurred during Avengers Disassemble. Probing those memories would have changed things with Jack, probably. But at the same time, she went back looking for the couple she had that fight with the previous day. For some reason, Jennifer Walters believed they have something to do with Jack's sudden return, and she was not gonna let it go. Let's talk about the art. I have forgotten how good the art in this series really was. Luca Maresca's up-and-close pencils are easy to read, very personal, very intimate with the characters, which make for emotional storytelling. When it is time for action, he delivers. When it's walking on the park time, he also delivers. The colors were highly saturated to provide a stunning contrast that made She-Hulk pop in every single page. This book, these 5 issues, are just beautiful to look at, easy on the eyes, if you will. That concludes this episode of Thoughts and Reviews. If you like what you saw here, you can pick up the series and dig further into the story and the characters. I believe this has been collected in 3 trade paperback volumes, or you can read all of Rainbow Rowell's run in the omnibus collected format. Stay tuned because I will be covering volumes 2 and 3 in the near future. With that being said, thank you for watching, have a blessed day, and remember to read more comics.